Welcome to Storytelling with Saad. Our today's story is The Owl Who Loved Sunshine. Chapter 1. Once there was an owl named Lander who lived in the attic of a huge old house on a hill and also wanted very much to be a proper owl. But Lander wasn't. He wasn't proper owl at all. To begin with, he was young. Proper owls are not young. Proper owls are old and wise. Also, Lander had trouble remembering all the things a proper owl must know and do. There are a great many things that proper owls must know, and a great many other things that proper owls must do. Every afternoon, Lander called upon Magellan, an ancient owl who spent his days in the parlor of the big house. When Magellan wasn't dozing on top of a bookcase, he showed Lander charts and maps of the night skies. He pointed out the stars and constellations on a globe so that Lander would know which star was the North Star and which stars weren't. Remember the North Star, and you'll never get lost when you fly. Magellan said, You can always find your way home again to your cozy attic. I'll remember, Lender promised, and he tried, but he didn't always remember. There were so many stars and constellations that it was hard for a young owl to keep them straight. After he had visited Magellan, Later always went to see Plato, the owl who spent his days sitting on the post of the big brass bed in the front bedroom. Plato taught Lander to say, ooh, ooh, is a knowing way, as if there were really no need to ask. And when you sleep, Plato told Lander, you must always keep your eyes wide open and stare straight ahead. Why? Linder asked. Because it's what proper owls do, said Plato. Besides staring straight ahead, gives owls a chance to think deep thoughts and become very wise. I thought it gave us a chance to sleep, said Lander. If you are going to be impudent, the lesson is over, snapped Plato. Later had not meant to be impudent. He wanted to learn to be proper and owlish. He quickly begged Plato's pardon, and the lesson went on. Lander sat on the brass bed. He stared straight ahead. He tried to think deep thoughts, and he said, Hoo, hoo, ooh, until he had it quite right. Then he flapped off to the dark library, where a truly ancient owl named Horace perched amid dusty papers and dry inkwells and huge leather bound books. Horace taught Lender to read about the great owls of history. One day, Lender found a small book, and in it was a poem about an owl and a pussy cat who went to sea in a beautiful pea green boat. Horace didn't approve of the poem. He was a foolish owl, said Horace. Wise owls do not hobnob with pussy cats. Lander thought that he must have been a brave owl, just the same, but he didn't say so. Instead, he flew back to his attic and perched on his hat rack, where he tried to think only about wise, noble, proper owls. Then the owl himself that only one star was the North Star and all the other stars weren't. He said, Ooh, to himself several times to keep in practice, and he stared straight ahead in a wise and owlish fashion. He hoped, he hoped that if he kept studying and practicing and reading and staring and flying abroad with the other owls, when they went out at night, he would soon be a proper owl. But one day, all of this ended. One day, Lender woke up in the morning and he saw a sunbeam. It was coming into the dim, shadowy attic through a chink in the shutters. Lander had never seen a sunbeam before. He thought it was very pretty. With the dust motes dancing in it, he hopped down from his hat rack and touched it with his claw. It felt warm. How nice, said Lander. That night, Lander flew out with the other owls. He saw that night sky with its thousands of stars, and he remembered which was the North Star. But he also remembered about the sunbeam. The next morning, Lander woke himself up early just so that he could see the sunbeam again. When it came creeping through the chink in the shutters, he decided that it was prettier than it had been the day before. Lander wondered if all the world outside his attic was filled with sunbeams. He put his eyes to the chink in the shutters and peeked out in the daylight. The world was filled with sunbeams. Like, share, and subscribe our channel. Storytelling with Saad. Thank you.